Hello, hello, hello. This is Zach Spicer coming back at you from JT&S, doing our April monthly safety meeting here. I'm going to be talking about the top reasons for accidents. Getting into it, right? Look these numbers up. Depending on who you talk to, we're number 4 out of 10, or we're 7 out of 10, or 9 out of 10 being most dangerous jobs. I could tell you, either way you look at it, top 10 most dangerous jobs, it tells you what line of work we're in, right? 42 fatalities out of the 100,000. Then you got 2,400 injuries out of the 100,000. 400% higher fatality rate than any other occupation out there, right? We got several reasons to be careful. There's dangers around every corner, and especially the driving, vehicles, wrecks, not only, ATVs that we're using, side by sides we're using, everything. These are some numbers I put together. You can see right there, this is from January till April 2025. We've had fatalities and injuries across the board. We've got to do better at this now. Most time you hear linemen, it's electricity, right? It ain't electricity. It's vehicle wrecks. It's weather related, flooding, stress, fatigue, fire, compressed lines under trees. Everywhere you turn in this industry, there's something willing to jump out and hurt you. One thing I think we don't do a good job of, and I'll be honest with you, I was just as guilty as everybody else. I think we don't use near misses like we should. Because what does every typical prideful lineman do out there, right? You go walking somewhere, you trip on a rug, you look around, make sure nobody saw you, right? I guarantee you everybody has been in a situation where they have nearly got hurt, nearly something went wrong, right? And I can promise you, you learn from that situation. Give everybody the opportunity to learn from it also, right? Don't keep it to yourself. Oh, I don't want to look stupid. I don't get caught breaking safety rules. I know co-ops and munis out there that have policies that completely negate you from breaking rules if you turn it in and talk about it. And I think that's awesome, honestly. It brings an honestness and an openness to it that we need in this business. Because if we don't talk about the near misses, those end up turning into accidents. That's where somebody gets hurt. That's where you have property damages. That's where bad things occur. That last bullet point down there hits it on the head. Most cases, a lot of things have to just sort of line up just right for it to happen. That means it's that butterfly effect, right? That butterfly flapped its wings over in Japan, and now we got a hurricane in Florida, right? It ain't necessarily one big catastrophic thing happened. It's some little thing that happened way back at the beginning of the day that ended up actually being the cause of what happened. They call this the 329-1 rule. You can see I got it off an insurance site. It's how they figure stuff out. I wanted to put a little graphic on there, like the Price is Right mountain climber guy going yodelay up the side of it, because that's essentially what it is. Murphy is standing at the bottom corner, and if you don't keep track of them near misses, you don't know how far he's climbing up that hill. Because what happens, them near misses turn into little accidents. A cut on a pocket knife, or you get cut with your pocket knife, or smush finger back over a mailbox. It'll eventually lead into Murphy kicking in the door and somebody gets hurt or killed. We got to do better keeping track of this stuff. But why does it happen? Everybody wants to say it ain't my fault. It didn't happen. It was unavoidable, right? They crunch them numbers, and only 10% of the time that's the case. 90% of the time it's something we could have done to prevent it. The biggest thing out of this whole presentation is going to be personal responsibility, personal accountability out of this, right? Own this stuff, boys. Own it. Whether it's not, identifying what the hazards are, not communicating. Dude, and I'm not going to harp on the older guys or nothing, but just because you've been there forever, and that's the way it's always been done, that may not necessarily be the best or the right way, but make sure you inform them younger bunch. They don't know that's a loop feed. They don't understand that that's a weird situation. That's a weird setup. That's the only one on the system like it. Everybody that's been there for 15 years knows it. Don't ever assume people know what's going on. Inform them, right? Inform them. Eliminate them hazards if you can. If you can't eliminate them, figure out how to mitigate them. Keep them hazards down to a minimum. Now, I had an old foreman. When he'd get in there, he'd get the job. He'd tell you need stuff for an A1 pot service. We get everything loaded up. But when he pulled out of the gate, you better been on that bumper. He'd never tell you the address. He didn't have to. He's a foreman. That's his job, right? You just do what he says. I hope that mentality is slowly creeping out of our industry. The way I see it, the days of the more information I hoard and hold on to, the more valuable I am, those days need to be gone. Everybody needs to be in a loop. The more educated your workforce is, the safer they can keep themselves, right? PPE, man, like I told y'all, talked about it last month a little bit. It's required by federal law that the companies give this stuff to you. But a safety man out there, a good safety man, is not a safety cop, right? His light ain't burning no brighter because he's over there writing you up and snuffing your candle out, right? If anything, you really think about it, if he's just catching you doing wrong stuff, then he's not really doing his job about teaching you and training you. But I ain't gonna get on that. A good safety guy should be like a coach, right? He should be there to educate you, to guide you, to help you be a better, safer worker. He should be the guy that you go to and be like, hey, we need this. This right here is gonna make it safer. I don't know many bosses, many CEOs out there that go, oh, you mean it's safer? No, we're not gonna do that. Okay, well, there's some liability there, boo-boo. If you go in there with the right attitude, you go in there with the right knowledge, saying it will help, things will be better. Now, I'm not saying use that card all the time, but honestly, and that comes from everything from possibly buying extra cover-up, extra guts, extra blankets, to getting a different brand of glove, to even we got the rodeo coming up at the end of next month. Stuff like that, right? That right there is training in my eyes. The more educated, the more trained your workforce is, the safer they're going to be. Cover up, we hit it last month. I hit a little bit on it again. You need it, get it. That's all there is to it. Don't worry about what other people think. Don't worry they're going to make fun of you. They're going to make fun of you anyway. If you need that cover up, get it. I talked to a safety guy one time from a big company. He said, man, after every accident, we order another box of guts, another box of blankets. He said, I got blankets and guts that'll cover up every line from here to California, dude. He said, it ain't the fact that we don't have it, it's like they just don't use it. Like I said, that personal accountability. You know when you need it. You know when that feeling, that little feeling that speaks to you that says, oh man, that's close. You sure that's right? Listen to it, embrace it. The whole last month's presentation was over this. Got a good example. Had another co-op call me up, said, man, they had 25 miles of three-phase. Storms moved through, tree tore down a three-phase, right at the breaker pole, right? They went over there, because obviously me being a high-speed, low-drag, top-quality safety instructor like I am, they said, I remember Zach saying we need to open testing ground. So they can't see inside them breakers. I don't care if them yellow handles are down. They took them stingers off. Pat on the back, boys. Proud of you. Thank you for doing that. But they stopped right there. Because, I mean, they're just right next to the breaker pole. They pull in B phase, get it up, get it right. Catch off A phase, catch off C phase, get the sag right. Pop that automatic in, C phase. Pop it in, B phase. He goes to pop that automatic in A phase. He picks up 25 miles of line. That automatic, right? You talking about a ball. That had to be a heck of a ball of fire. Singed some beard hairs, what I heard. But think about that. Think about his gloves. If he wouldn't have had his rubber on, I mean, dude, 2 or 3 millimeters worth of gloves, rubber, is what kept that man alive. If not, if he had leather on because he opened it up right, had that visual opening point, he'd have been the jumper, right? He wouldn't be here today. If they'd have stuck a tester up there and it'd have beeped. Well, that's weird. That shouldn't have beeped, right? Guarantee everybody listening, of course we got a lot of listeners, thank y'all, listening, why did it happen? Well, out of all the people there that night, they watched him set up. They watched him drop stingers. Them underslung, underarm switches, the bypasses. Nobody saw it. Nobody saw it. And I ain't blaming nobody, because it's late at night. They've been working all weekend long, tornado damage. It's raining, it's storming, it's dark. They're thinking that tree, when it tore that line down, shook that pole hard enough, it just barely closed that underslung switch. All they had to do was took his tester up there. They put a ground on it, you definitely knew it. That's why it's open testing ground. Not just open testing ground, right? So, when it comes to driving, we've had two different driving things on company time, 2 different driving things off company time. 2 of them involved ATVs on the weekends. One lineman passed away, had another one where 2 linemen are severely injured because the ATV ended up bursting into flames, burning them. One of them had a car pull out in front of him in a big bucket. The real bad one was the one that happened a couple weeks ago where a lineman was trapped in a bucket that had flipped upside down in a creek because it hydroplaned, right? Couldn't get out. You got to pay attention driving, folks. And I'm not saying just you paying attention because you're scrolling, you're clicking, you're texting, you're doing whatever. You ought not be doing that. You ought not be speeding and running stop signs and backing over mailboxes. But I'm talking paying attention for everybody else out on the road, right? Those are the people going to get you hurt. Watch out for them folks. Keep your head on a swivel. That's why you need to be paying attention. All right? Like I said a second ago, when it comes to that training, I don't care what college, I don't care what center, I don't care what organization you're attached to. I don't care if you've been in the business 5 years or 50 years. You shouldn't ever stop learning. There's always something new around the bend. Train up as much as you can. The more you know about what's going on, the safer you can keep yourself, all right? You don't talk about what's going on out there. You just assume, hey, it's just like every other A1 I've changed out. Maybe, probably, maybe not. Cover everything top to bottom. I don't care if it's a routine thing you've done a million times. Cover it top to bottom. Linemen occasionally are known to be a little lazy. Might use a set of clines for a hammer, right? You know, don't just take shortcuts because it's going to save you 5 minutes. This job, you possibly don't get but one opportunity to screw up. You don't want to burn that opportunity up because you're too lazy to spend 5 minutes going digging for something like a tester, right? Make sure you get what you need and use what you need. Communication is a big key. Any of y'all married out there probably know, right? We have a tendency to possibly supposed to be mind readers, but open and honest. that browbeating that younger guy over there asking a million questions. Oh, I wish he'd just hush, right? Look at that as an opportunity to educate, to instruct, to teach, right? To impart some of that hard-earned wisdom that you took 10, 15, 20 years together. That answer, well, that's always the way it's been. No. Take the time to be honest and open with everybody. You got somebody willing to learn, be willing to teach them. They're already meeting you halfway, right? Now, our business we're in occasionally might attract a certain kind of personality, right? Tempers do occasionally flare. It ain't because we're just who we are, which sometimes it is, but it's because we've probably been up for 2 or 3 days. It's probably 20 degrees or it's probably 120 degrees, and we're hungry, we're tired, we're cold, we're wet. We've got a million things going on, right? Make sure that if you do lose your cool, be the bigger man about it. Apologize, my bad, something like that. Try not to lose your cool, of course, but try not to lose your cool, all right? And if you're the one on the receiving end of that, brush it off. Don't take it personal. Don't be going after him. Don't be getting hateful after him. Just take it with a grain of salt. Like Mama said, kill him with kindness, right? Best thing we could do, take a breath. Know we got to work together. Know we got to get this job done, right? Personal distractions. I want to spend just a second on this personal distraction thing. So we've had two reports of linemen that ended their own life. Everybody has got a battle going on. Everybody's got demons. Everybody's got something happening. We want to think we're special, but honestly we ain't, right? And what looks like to somebody not to be a big deal, because my dog's sick. Well, if he ain't married, he ain't got kids, or that dog is his life, then yeah, that's a big deal to him. Could be a family member sick, cancer, somebody going through divorce. If you notice, if a guy that's always early starts showing up late, if he's always on the phone, if his work ain't quite as good as it always been, instead of adding to that, instead of putting that other piece of straw on that camel's back, right? Let's take it off. Let's help the situation. Don't just, what the hell are you late for, right? You might ask, you good? You okay? Need any help? Maybe it's their turn in the bucket. I'll tell you what, man, I'll catch you today. Be there for one another. We work with each other all the time. We know what's going on with these people long before anybody else does, because we see them more than anybody else does. Take the time to help a brother out, all right? We get tired, we get hungry, we're cold, we're wet. It's part of this job, right? You signed up for it. Oh, suck it up. Let's go with it. Dude, we got to understand that there's a lot of aspects to living a good life. In the return for them long hours and that tired and that missing the ball games and missing birthdays and missing soccer games and just missing everything in life, yeah, the money's good. It ain't always about the money. Make sure, take your time, do it right. Don't cut them corners. Keep your equipment up, keep your tools up. Something small might make the difference, right? How do we prevent this stuff? Well, I'll tell you from personal experience. Y'all that actually know me know that I got burnt several years back. I can tell you, doing a proper job brief would have saved me 1,000%. But I did what I always did, because I did what my foreman did, which was, hey man, sign this. And then we're talking about the Titans, or we're talking about fishing. We ain't talking about energy source controls. If you view that job brief like a tool, like it's a digger truck, like it's a wrench, like it's a hammer, and it's something that can make your job easier, you're going to use it. But you've got to put the importance on it, right? Follow them safety rules. They're written in blood, and that's legit. I've donated blood to that whole that inkwell right there. At the end of the day, personal accountability. You realize in this world you can lie to anybody. You can lie to your wife, you can lie to your friends, you can lie to your crew, but you can't lie to yourself. You know when you're doing something wrong, and that's it. That's it. You know it. If it stops right there, this problem would be solved. Let's get out of the top 10. That's not a good moniker to have. We don't want to be known as one of the most dangerous jobs. We want to be known as one of the safest jobs out there because we do it so well. Fixing this stuff, let's go ahead and do a good job, proper job brief. Recognize them hazards, eliminate them, remove them, mitigate them, fix them, however you got to do it. But take the time to do it right. Got to ask yourself at the end of the day, why are you ignoring them rules? You know better. You know better than cutting that corner. You know better than doing this. You know better than doing that. At the end of the day, you got to own up to it. That's what I've got for this month. Thank y'all very much. Hope y'all have a good one. Look forward to seeing you next month.